Hello and welcome to the channel. If you haven't done so already, make sure to like and subscribe. I appreciate that so much. Thank you guys for doing that. It's free. Nobody's going to charge you anything. I'm not going to nickel and dime you for subscribing. Just kidding. But anyway, let's go ahead and talk about the Gran Turismo. Um, a lot of backlash as of late because I guess it was just announced that the game will always need in, yeah, internet connection in order for you to play the campaign. The only part that's not going to require you to use the internet for is the part that, you know, when you're playing arcade, which makes absolutely no sense. But let's go ahead and cover this article real quick. Okay, so here we are in IGN's website, which looks very, very fancy. Just kidding. I'm going to leave a link in the description for you to go check it out yourself if you want to. It's completely up to you. But yeah, you'll know where to find the source. It says Gran Turismo 7, Kazunori, messing up that name, Yamauchi. I think I got the last name right, but the first name completely butchered it. Apologize. Not good with names. Explains the always online connection that has fans reeled. Good thing I'm not buying this one. I'll just stick to my Forza Motorsports. But then again, Forza Motorsports has the same feature where it's rely on the online portion of the game. Like even if you're doing the campaign, it's really reliant on the online functionality of the game. But I've never actually tried to play the game offline, so I don't know. I don't know how the best way for them to like their best course of action here on what to do. Um, yeah. So it says here, Gran Turismo creator Kazunori Yamauchi has detailed why Gran Turismo 7 will require an always online connection, while this has fans reeled up. Yamauchi says the connection is necessary for save data. So there's no other way for you to save your data without having to use the live service, or can't I just save it on my local PlayStation 5 and then upload it later? Or like, I don't know. I'm not understanding how this couldn't be done offline, because we all know eventually um, these games will stop getting support because the company has moved on to something else. It this is just the nature of the beast. Or like when the consoles get left behind, when PlayStation 6 come out or PlayStation 7, all these games that require online service for you to have them, even though you have the disc, it's still irrelevant. It will not function. It will not work. So I'm not really a fan of having the always connection or internet connection, because those servers are not always going to be on. I mean, they're good for the next, I don't know, 5, 10 years or so. And then after that, if you do want to go back and actually play these games, because by that time, these games will be classics, which I don't know which generation we're going to be on, but like 10, 20 years from now, you probably won't even be able to play this Gran Turismo 7 because the servers won't be up by then. Yamauchi explained that the online requirement isn't specific to just GT Cafe, but every aspect of the game except for its arcade mode. He also touched on why such a requirement is even necessary. The requirement for the online connection isn't specific to the cafe per se. It's just prevent cheating overall. I mean, who gives a shit if you're cheating? So, to my understanding, so is the campaign kind of like connected together to other people? Is that why they're concerned on whether you're cheating? Because to be completely honest, I don't give a shit what anybody else does on their single player campaign game. I don't care. It's yours. You bought it. You can do whatever you want to do in that said game. I don't give a shit. It does not affect my experience of the game. You know what I mean? But anyway, I don't get it. It's just to prevent cheating overall from people trying to modify the saved data. So that's the reason for the online connection. Yamauchi said the only part of the game that doesn't require an online connection is the arcade mode because that has no effect on save data. So that's possible. Maybe, and another thing, maybe because I haven't played um, GT, so I'm not really sure about the whole always online portion of the game. But I'm not sure. I'm not sure. I think even GT Sport had the same thing implemented on it. Um, you can remember back then, like this has to be, I think, when we were entering onto the Xbox One's era, and Microsoft came up with this neat idea of always having your connection, like always requiring you for you to log in into online to, to verify that you actually own those games or whatever. But you can play your games pretty much anywhere, and there was a shit ton of backlash. And same thing here. Like, why do you need the connection for your single player campaign? Or unless it's not really single player, unless you're kind of like competing with other people, then that would be multiplayer. That would be a different portion of the game. I'm just not understanding this. Maybe somebody can explain it to me, or should I say, dim it down for me, or dumb it down for me in the comments. All right, so make sure you do that for me. I would appreciate that a lot because I don't know. This makes no sense. In a separate interview with GT Planet, Yamauchi further touched on the always online debacle. Adding in another aspect is for the libraries. I don't know what that means. I don't know. Explain it to me, please, somebody. Library data is downloaded from the server even when you're playing offline. So what that tells me is like this whole um, online connection or always online connection is built into like the core of the game. So even if they wanted to take it out, I think it's going to be a lot of work, and that would require delaying the game even longer for them to, try to take that out. I think it's pretty much ingrained in there. And last time somebody, I cannot recall what company. Oh yeah, like I'm not sure, but there was a company that tried to take certain stuff out of the game, and it just completely like it didn't play correctly because I think it was EA with Battlefront. Like they had the microtransaction like embedded into the game, so when they took all that stuff out, the game didn't play as well as it should, or it didn't play correctly. So who knows what would actually happen if they decide they wanted to take um, the whole always online aspect out of the game. Who knows if that would actually break the game. Anyway, Yamauchi said, so an online connection is something that is needed pretty much throughout the game. One part of the game that doesn't require any connection, obviously, it's the arcade mode. So there you go. If you want Gran Turismo 7, you can play arcade mode and you can be completely offline and you can do whatever you want. But I don't know. Multiplayer, I understand, but I'm not really understanding why he needs an online connection for single player mode. If it's single player mode, this is somebody from Twitter, that needs an online connection, that developers have made an objectively bad decision, not only for people playing it at launch, but in terms of future preservation, because once the server goes down, that's it. You cannot play the single player version of the game. The always online requirement kills any hope I had for getting GT7, even I'm sorry, if they have made it so I could play the campaign fully offline, but obviously without the online related features like GT5, GT6, then I'd be absolutely fine with that. For me, I'm not, we're not there yet. We're not there yet. We're not at the point where you would have like solid internet connection across the globe. Not everybody has internet. As civilized as we are, sometimes we can be uncivilized people. but not everybody has internet. There's still certain areas in third world countries that don't have access to a solid internet. But I'm just saying, I'm just speaking in like a general term, because even in the United States, we may have internet, but not our speeds are not going to be up to par comparing to other places that have faster internet and it's more developed. But always on connection that requires you to have it solidly while you're playing a single player game, which makes no sense unless it's the only other way I can think that this would be a requirement is you have to have the online connection if somebody wants to join your game, or or not join your game or do something, then that makes sense. But that should be like a separate feature on itself. Sometimes you don't want people to join your game because you're doing your own thing. Kind of like Forza. I think somebody can join your game that you're playing on, or there was another game too where you're playing your single player experience and somebody can jump on your game and just, play with you. But this doesn't seem like the case, and it's a terrible idea. But let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Are you going to get the game anyway? Are you excited for it? Because I told one of my friends about that, and he was like, ah, he was kind of disappointed about it too, which is crazy because he's a huge GT fan. But for me, I'm like, I'll stick with Forza Horizon because I prefer more, like off-roading and just doing crazy things that doesn't seem realistic. Just going off-road and just, you know, barreling through and destroying stuff. So that's more my type. And Need for Speed, sort of my type kind of games. Simulators, not so much, but I'll play them. But for $70, always online, yeah, I think that's a hard pass for me. I wanted to try it. Some of the cars look kind of sick, but I guess I'll wait until it's in the bargain bin for $20 if the servers are still up. Anyway, make sure to like and subscribe, and I'm out of here.